Hello, everybody, and welcome to Ccna Collaboration. My name is Jeremy Chara, and we are going to do this all over again to talk about the Ccna Collaboration Certification in all of its glory. So, I want to start off with what is the Ccna Collaboration? What is this new world of technology that some of you may know, some of you may not, is really Cisco stepping back and saying, we are going to merge two worlds together, meaning voice over IP and video streaming technology into this one known as Ccna Collaboration. And a lot of people, I know that I saw the feedback come in and say, wow, these are similar, but at the same time, very different worlds. Why would they do this? Well, because Cisco, as they always do, sees the future, and they know that this is where everything is going. Gone are the days where video is awkward. I remember the first time I had a FaceTime conversation with my wife over my iPhone. Now, that I did this back when before they actually opened up FaceTime on the cellular networks because it used so much bandwidth. I did the jailbreak, right? The jailbreak of the iPhone, and I still remember how weird it was. I was walking through the grocery store on FaceTime, and there's people looking over my shoulder. They're like, he's talking to his wife on his, it was just like one of those weird, I can't believe this is happening kind of events. And now it's commonplace. People are used to video happening everywhere. And I want to talk about this picture. Have you ever been in a company meeting that's teleconference, right? Like you dial in. I'm sure you have. We, in the professional world, we all get to a point where we dial into the company meeting, and the fact is that within probably 20 seconds, as long as somebody's not talking directly at you, you're gone, right? You're sitting on, maybe not as bad as that gal flopped over on the laptop, but I mean, if you're sitting on the laptop, it's like, minimize the conference, you're blowing up the web, you're checking your email, you're like, oh, Skype, you're tweeting, you're doing anything but actually listening because you can't see them, but I would actually suggest, more importantly, they can't see you. And I know that sounds funny to think of it that way, but think about your response if you were in a conference like this, which is what Ccna Collaboration is all about. I mean, if that were you sitting right here, dialed in on a video screen, you would be represented by a monitor, and everybody's looking at you. You'd be crazy to pull up your email or start tweeting because they're going to be like, "What are you doing? You're distracted." The whole all eyes are on you. You're part of the meeting. You're engaged. That's the world of collaboration. And then that's why Cisco decided to merge these two together, is when you see the impact that it has when you start having video integrated with your audio, corporations are like, this is a no-brainer. We've got to go this direction. I mean, there's a reason that a billboard or television ads cost infinitely more than doing a radio ad, right? There's just something about seeing the product or seeing the person announcing it or whatever the case is that does something to connect you to them. So all that being said, that's what Ccna Collaboration is about. They have done away with the old Ccna voice and Ccna video. There is a migration track to where you can actually move from a migration where you can move from these old certifications into the new. So, and if you have a Ccna voice, you can, take one test and get the Ccna Collaboration. So there's upgrade tracks all across. So all of that information I'm actually going to stay away from because you can find that online really easy. So I want to spend our time here into the stuff that you can't get online by just Googling Ccna Collaboration. I just brought up this picture because the vision that Cisco has, and I don't know if you've ever been in one of these rooms. If this were a classroom right now, I'd say, raise your hand. How many of you have experienced this? Experiencing this is actually the Cisco IX 5000. Mortgage your house, sell your kids, and buy one of these units. It's worth it because you can actually engage just as if you're sitting right across from these people. And these people, I mean, you see those three screens on the other side, could be an exact mirrored setup across the world. It could be down the street. It could be in another building. Those three screens could be different people dialing in. They could be sitting at a coffee shop on one screen. They could be sitting at a home office on another screen. So nonetheless, when you experience this for the first time, it's amazing. I mean, it truly feels as if you are sitting across from them having a face-to-face meeting. So that being said, what is the CCNA collaboration all about? What's it take to get it? So there are two exams which really represent the merge of the CCNA voice and video together. There's CICD, which represents the CCNA voice world, and so think of it as like a lightweight CCNA voice, and CIVND, which is a lightweight CCNA video. The learning curve is far sharper on the video side. When I say lightweight, let me first off define what that means. Lightweight means there's actually a little less in CICD than there was in the old CCNA voice. They want you to be able to come in and administer a system that's already up and running. You're doing the common day-to-day tasks, moving extensions, creating new users, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Whereas CIVND is a lightweight CCNA video. Again, you're not really setting up from the ground up. You're assume that you are an administrator walking into an already existing environment, an already existing system, and doing a lot of the day-to-day functions on there. Now, it's interesting that this is one of those certifications where there is no CCENT required. So the CCNA collaboration is a certification track in itself. And I thought about that for a while because it perturbs me. Anytime somebody cuts ICND 1 out of it, because I'm like, ICND 1, which I'm actually redoing right now for the new CCNA routing and switching, it's just so rich and so lays the foundation of everything routing and switching. So I was kind of like, why did Cisco do that? And then it occurred to me, CCNA collaboration, and I would say collaboration in general, is creating an entirely new breed of Cisco technician, one that may never touch a switch and a router. Meaning, the voice and video world has evolved so much that you can be a full-time collaboration person that doesn't even know what a MAC address is. Stop right there, because phones have MAC addresses. Let's just say that doesn't know anything about subnetting, right? Which is heresy. For the Cisco world to even suggest something like that, but that's what I'm saying is the CCNA collaboration is an entirely new breed of technicians. So this world is one that I would say you have to have some hands-on. At CBT Nuggets, we've created all of the course content for them, but to do it without having hands-on experience it's rough. So one of the big things I wanted to bring up here is, what do I build for a lab and how much would it cost in general? So I'm always about budget-friendly equipment. I know you can always go bigger than what I say. And there's even people that say, well, I feel like you can't really learn it if I don't have a blah, 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 blah. And that's fine. But I would say this stuff that you see on the screen right here is enough to really get going into the CICD, meaning the CCNA voice world now become collaboration. So 2621XM with an NMHD2VE. I was trying to find a picture that had the module in there. That's actually a module that goes right here and allows you to put in 2 voice slots. And that's where I would say the module name is a VIC-2FFF XS and 2FXO. That stands for Foreign Exchange Station and Foreign Exchange Office. What that lets you do, what this little gem does, is let you connect to the old world, meaning analog lines, S being the phones, like an old analog phone that you could buy from Walmart or something like that and plug it in and convert it into a voice over IP device. And that can represent, in the new world, a fax machine. It could represent a modem. It could represent, a phone that's in a warehouse where they just don't want to put an IP phone there because it's going to get beat up and hit by a forklift and everything else. FXO being a foreign exchange office, which is the connection to the outside world. So if you've got an analog line coming into your house, which it's funny how the world has changed. I used to say, oh man, just take your home phone line and run it over the voice over IP system. And now here I am talking to you and I'm like, Well, not many people have a home phone line anymore. Everybody's gone to cell phones, but get one, right? Go get an analog line for your home, and then you can use that as essentially your T1 emulation or your connection to the outside world with this device. This device can also run Call Manager Express, or what Cisco now calls CUCME, which allows you to run a small office phone system from the all-in-one router, right? This guy right here is 3550 with inline power, and I made sure to differentiate that. That's not PoE, right? That's inline power, the old Cisco proprietary, because you can get that switch for probably 10 or 20 bucks off of eBay. So let me toss some prices as I'm going about this little roundabout. So this guy, the 2621, now I'm a thrifty guy, right? Like I'm shopping on eBay. I just don't get the first search result. So I'd say you could get that for $45. I'd say the 3550 you could probably get from somewhere between $10 to $20 and pay shipping or something like that. These guys right here are some great IP phones because you're getting into the call manager world. You could probably get those again between $10 and $20 a piece because they're not this slick, wonderful phones. But also keep in mind, these are not video phones. These are I'll call them now old school phones that just do the audio. So if you are planning to get heavy into the video, then you might just want to invest in the phones I'm about to show you on the next slide. This piece right here is critical. This is CUCM VMware images, and I'm showing them from eBay. I just did a search right before I put this presentation slides together this morning, and so if you can't see it because it's so small, there's $40 that you can get a whole slew of images. That's Cisco Unity, Cisco Unified Presence, the Call Manager Express, or I should say the Call Manager image itself, already prepackaged in VMware, where you can use the free VMware player to spin those up in your environment. And of course, I'm assuming, because you lose your geek card if you don't have it, you've got a beefy computer at home with, I would say, 16 gigs of RAM would be ideal, that you can actually run a lot of these images right there. This environment will allow you to set up, and I would say about 80 to 90% of everything that you need to set up in the CICD world, right? So that allows you to build exactly what I teach in the CBT Nuggets world. The CIVND world is a little bit more expensive because you're talking about video, you're talking about newer technology. So, I put all the prices on the other one, right? Yeah. So I would say the CICD, you could probably build a lab for about $200 or so thriftiness, right? This world is a little bit more expensive. This one is the tough one, meaning from a price perspective. The Cisco EX60 or EX90 is a great one to play with. This is a stand-up station. I'm staring at one sitting right next to me. The reason this one is essential is because it runs the TC software, and it's one of the smallest units that you can buy to test it. So a lot of people don't know this, but CBT Nuggets didn't develop a lot of the video collaboration stuff themselves. They're big enough that they just acquire companies, and they went out and acquired Tandberg, which is a company that's been around forever, and they are the ones that created this TC software, which Cisco actually has recently rebranded to be their own, but it's a very different interface than everything else in the typical Cisco world, right? So this guy, what I would suggest for that guy, go on eBay, search for Cisco EX60, EX90. You're going to see them going for $1,000, $2,000, $3,000 out of the box for one of these units on there. Look for one that's banged up. I'm serious. You're building a lab, right? It's got a magic marker across the bottom. I'm looking at mine. There's a chip taken out of the metal in the upper right corner. Whatever the case is, because you can get those for $200 to $300, and now you've got a great video collaboration unit that you can do. Mine actually didn't have that little thing, which took the price down even more. The little touchscreen widget that allows you to control the device outside of the web interface, right? And so I bought that separately for $60 and ended up saving. I'm like, here's how you do garage sale Cisco shopping. But that's how you do it for the lab environment, right? Over here, these are some of the cheapest video phones that you can get, 8941s. but you gotta do at least one DX650. You just gotta. It's going to be more, but this is the one that has the HD screen. I mean, you just don't get an appreciation for just how cool this can be until you get a little four-way conference going between all these devices in your lab environment. You can still bust out the 3550 or the 3750 with inline power or PoE to get those things going. And then this is the tough one. CUCM, and notice I'm now putting VCS VMware images. You can actually run the video collaboration system with CUCM, but you're not going to have anywhere near the features, nor have anywhere near the hands-on experience you need for the lab without VCS. So what is VCS? VCS is the central core that Tandberg created for their network, right? Cisco created CUCM, Tandberg created VCS. The functions between them are heavily overlapping, but to get a lot of the real video-centric stuff, you need VCS. Now, what if I were to have my crystal ball, what I would suggest Cisco's going to do is what they've done to every other product they've sucked the life out of, and they'd do the same thing with VCS and slowly but surely suck all the functionality out of VCS and put it into CUCM, and eventually VCS will become a thing of the past like Novell NetWare servers, right? So it'll just fade away and everything becomes CUCM. So that lab environment, I mean, let's go thrifty, right? If you're going on Thrifty Shop, I would say you could build this for $1,000. I know, it's a lot, but that's the world of video collaboration, and that stuff will carry you through. So again, if you buy these phones, you may not need to get the 7960 phones from the CICD lab, and you can cross-pollinate between the two because you have to combine them to do the CCNA collaboration. So I've got one more slide, but I'm looking at all the questions. So I'm going to let me do my one more slide, and then I'm going to jump over to the slew of questions that I see. Things I think you'll like in CCNA collaboration. And I wanted to do this to give you a taste of the stuff that is in the CCNA collaboration world, but also if you don't like what I saw a quote yesterday that I always love quotes that just make you think, and it said something to the effect of if you're I'm going to just stop. It was like, if you're reading somebody else's story, close the book, write your own book. It was one of those things I'm like, yeah. So anyway, I'll bend it to say, if you're doing technology you just don't like, it's not going to be fun for you. And if it's not fun for you, then you're not going to be as good at it as you are something else. So do something that you really like. So when I got into voice technology, it was tough for me. And this is probably 15 years ago now when I first got into CCNA voice, back before there really even was one. They called it CCVP was the certification I originally got. So anyway, the more that you learn about it, the more you're like, oh, that's cool. And that grows your passion for the technology. So anyway, things that I think you'll like in CCNA collaboration. Cisco Call Manager Express, I've always loved that product. It's awesome to be able to have a router that powers the phone system, right? So just seeing what you can do in there. And in CICD, we go through a whole bunch of stuff to actually get Call Manager Express up and running and program a bunch of features. The route plan and dial peers, just because I'm a routing and switching guy at my core. And so anything that resembles routing and switching, which is the dial peers and the manipulation you can do with the digits and setting up a route plan on the Cisco router to the old world technology and all that, it's pretty cool. Things that started blowing my mind, and I'm just going to go right there. Lighting and room design. What? What am I doing in lighting and room design? So first off, a little bit about me and my wife is we are intensely practical people. If you come over to my house, there's nothing on the walls. Nothing. I mean, it's painted light brown. We have light brown carpet. It's just bland because we just lack the desire and the talent to do any kind of decoration whatsoever. So when I got into lighting and room design, so this was a delightful, surprising thing. The more I get into it, I'm like, wow, that is cool. Oh, okay. And I'm serious, like paint colors, like you start going interior decorator on this thing, like, okay, the lighting shade, I mean, I know you're probably like, this is not for me, but I'm telling you, when you get into it, you're like, oh, that's pretty cool. That does look good, because that actually plays a big part into the video streaming. Setup. This was actually one of my favorite things. I got a couple DX650s, a couple 9971 phones, and I set them up in each one of the rooms of my house. And some of you know I have 6 kids. Oh my goodness, what a heyday we had. So they were doing video collaboration calls and, dialing each other in the other rooms. My wife eventually had to rip the whole system out because she couldn't get them to do anything else, but it was a blast. So I mean, again, you're probably thinking, how does this relate to the certification? I'm all about building your passion. The more excited and the more cool this is, the better off you're going to do into this. Video layouts, that's where you can do the Brady Bunch style thing. You remember the intro to the Brady Bunch, maybe not, where you've got the grid of all the different people talking at the same time. That's fun. Building a collaboration network without borders, that's where I actually took one of those phones out of the house and I took it to my office, and I was calling my kids on a little 4-digit extensions that we had set up, and I eventually had to rip that out because they were calling me all day. But you can build a collaborative network between your home office and your work office and everything else using public IP hosted system. And with AWS, anybody can get into a data center and get a collaboration unit running. So, oh man, I'm running out of breath. Okay, so down at the bottom, lima bean topics. No, what do I mean by that? I'm saying, first off, let me say anything can be cool if you know enough about it. You talk about NASA scientists figuring out how a launch pad needs to be tilted just the right angle. I mean, people get a kick out of that. My neighbor is a environmental engineer for Intel, and he just talks all day long about water cooling systems, and I'm like, yawn. But he is thrilled because the more you know about something, the better you are. So when I say lima bean topics, I mean, these are the topics that they put in the program where they didn't give you enough to where you really can gain enough passion. So you feel like, okay, if I have to really learn more about this, I have to go outside of the certification, and I don't want to do that. So everything in that CIVND 1 series. So Cisco has, it's like $500 off of their website. I'm like, good grief. So I took this CIVND 1 e-reading title that they have, and I converted it into CBT Nuggets format. But it is like frame rates, video resolution, how did frames per second originally evolve? I mean, like, flip books, where did that come from? So they kind of go through the history, which is kind of cool, but they just don't give you enough to where you can really embrace it. And you look at it and you're like, okay, this is all old school stuff. Why do I even want to embrace this? So that's a lima bean course. It's just, you got to get through it. You got to get the knowledge from it and then move on. Cisco Unity, I've never really liked. It's good. It's a voicemail system, but it's a voicemail system. I mean, it's a server that does voicemail. It does a lot more than that. But anyway, so that's just something you got to learn. You got to get through it. Monitoring and reporting can be very cool, but again, they just give you just enough to get a taste test of it. So you got to know some of the key factors that you can monitor. So I would say if you can get by those and dive into more of this, you can do excellent on the certification. Okay. 5 minutes left. Let me jam as many questions as I can into the last 5 minutes. I see there's 13 of them that they have highlighted. So I'm just going to take it from the top down. Victor saying, what is the latest on CCNA 120-200? So talking about the CCNA routing and switching upgrade. I am knee deep into that right now. I'm actually creating it, and it's going to be awesome. That is, I think ICND 1 will be out around early August-ish. ICND 2 shortly thereafter. So hopefully that answers, Victor, what you were asking. Roland said, so I took a weird approach to this. I took CIVND first. Cool. That's a different track. And now I'm studying for CICD. But the topics are sounding way so familiar for me that I'm, instead of being excited, it's boring, and I'm not having much traction. Any suggestion? That's a great question. So yeah, CIVND should be the second one, but if you've got more experience in the video world, then sure, you can knock that one out first. I do consider CICD to be a little more lightweight. So the best advice I can give you, Roland, is to build it. It feels like a waste of time and does consume a lot of time to build what they're telling you in CICD. But that's where you can be like, okay, cool. And then you can start integrating your voice over IP, your call manager world with VCS. But yeah, there is, and I will be straight up with everybody here, a lot of overlap between those two. CIVND takes what was in CICD and just builds on it. It's kind of like ICND 1, ICND 2. How many exams, Mohammed is asking, how many exams do I need to get my CCNA collaboration? That would be 2, if I were to flip back right here. CICD and CIVND, but for CIVND, there's actually 2 courses. There's the one, that's the Lima Bean course, where you've got to learn all of the stuff that's in the $500 Cisco PDF that we've converted at CBT Nuggets to a much more engaging video training series. And then there's CIVND 2, that's the real meaty one. So 2 courses, if you will, that comprise 1 exam. Billy is saying, any good Linux-based apps that are H323 compatible that I could have collaborating inside of GNS3? Cisco IP Communicator seems only to work for Windows. Yes, that is a great question. I'm sure there are Linux-based applications. There's hundreds of them out there that you can use for SIP trunking, H323, that kind of thing, but none that I could roll off the top of my head, Billy. How much multicast routing knowledge is needed for video conferencing? Any good way to practice that virtually? At the CCNA collaboration level, none. You don't need to get into multicasting at all, and technically, that is a routing and switching technology, which again tells you where Cisco's vision for CCNA collaboration is. They're like, rip all the routing and switching out, just do voice and video. So know the concept of multicast, but don't need to get much beyond that. Mohammed saying, I am a CCNP routing and switching. Can I bypass CCNA collaboration and go directly for CCNP collaboration? No, you cannot. That would be cool. But no, you can't. You actually have to start from the ground level. You can't just go straight across because you have CCNP routing and switching. And you will see just how different those worlds are when you get into CCNA collaboration. Are technologies like SRST implementation covered in this? No, they actually are not at all. That was surprising to me, but that's probably the CCNP collaboration realm. Michael is asking, what about existing CCNA security? What is the path to CCNP voice? Nothing. This is truly a isolated world. So it doesn't matter if you are a CCIE in every other Cisco program. CCNA collaboration stands on its own. It does not. You do not get any benefit from having other Cisco certifications. Is 7960 a true requirement? I have 7940 phones, says Jeffrey. That is totally fine. 7940s work all day long, so stick with those. Jag is saying, what is the bonus at the bottom of the CIVND lab screen? What was the bonus at the bottom of the CIV? Hang on, let me... No. He's probably saying, yeah, actually. Sorry, I have another recording software up that was covering that. Right here, Bonus TMS. That's another piece of software created by Tandberg, which is the, of course, now my mind is blanking. It's the TMS server. It's used for scheduling the conferences that you have, video conferences and video collaboration. There is a number of the questions about the TMS system on the exam, hypothetically speaking. So if you can get a TMS VMware image, which is used for provisioning and scheduling a lot of your video endpoints, because with CUCM and VCS, you have to do a lot of manual provisioning on each one of the video endpoints. That's what TMS is all about. Thanks for bringing that up, Jag. Manuel says, hi, Jeremy, is there a simulation or emulation option? No. Sorry. I see where you're going with that. I stopped on the rest of your question right there. There is no simulation emulation for video or voice, at least not one that would be worthwhile to replace actually having some equipment. And Billy is saying, is Jabber chat messages topic included in the exam? Yeah, there will be questions on Jabber, not Jabber chat, but more of the Jabber client chat is just one element of it. But when you buy one of these packs, at least the one I got off of eBay, they actually include a Windows client image where you get IP communicator, you get Jabber, and you'll want to use those as your endpoints as well. Those are good. And then last question that I see there, Anil is saying, just want to know, do we have these courses available on CBT Nuggets? What a great question to end this presentation. Yes. CICD, CIVND 1 and 2 are all available on CBT Nuggets. And I've gone a couple minutes over, but guys, I hope this has been awesome for you. And I hope that you guys are fired up and ready to dive into CCNA collaboration. It really is a cool certification to go after. So for now, I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.